Hello there, Faisal Bas again. All right, so today's session will be exciting one. We're gonna be creating and launching a Linux instance using our AWS free tier account, and we're gonna be using uh, free tier Windows. Oh, sorry, free tier Linux machines. Let's see what our options are. All right, so let's get started. Let's log into the console. URL is the same, console.aws.amazon.com. I am already logged in, so let me just quickly go in there. See that I am logged in with my root account. My region is North Virginia. All right, so similar process, either you go through the services, compute and EC2, or in your AWS management console, all services, compute, or and EC2. So click on EC2. All right, so right now you see that I have 0 running instances, 3 key pairs I have, and I have 2 security groups. Remember in our previous video, we created 1 security group. We are not going to use the default one, so we're gonna use this one, and let's see. About the key pairs, remember we created in our one of our previous videos, 3 different types of key pairs. One was the PPM, another one was PPK, and the third one was we generate through the PutyGen on our Windows machine and then upload it there to the console. So we're going to be using, I'll show you which one we're going to be using here. So let's get started. You can launch instance from here, or you can go into the instances and launch from there. I'm going to click here, launch instance. All right. Yep. Obviously, launch instance. Okay, you see that we're going to be picking only the free tier eligible instance types. Either you pick and select, if you do not pick the one that is free tier eligible, like this one, you're going to be charged for that. And in order to avoid those, credit card charges, either, pick the correct one that is free tier eligible, or the other option is to click on this checkbox here, free tier only, and it'll just pick only the free tier ones for you. On Linux front, we have multiple different Linux flavors. We have Amazon Linux. Amazon launched their own Linux. And then Red Hat Linux, very common one. SUSE Linux, Ubuntu Linux, and several different here. So we'll just pick the first one on the top. Okay, Amazon Linux 2 AMI. I'm going to click select here. All right, so this is a 7-step process. We are on step number 2. Make sure that you have T2 Micro, where is a free tier eligible instance types. You have that selected. Otherwise, you will select any different type. You will be charged for that. All right, next step is to click next, configure instance details. All right, so I'm going to click next here. I'm going to leave everything by default here. Okay, we're gonna in our subsequent sessions, we're gonna go deep dive into what is the IAM role, what is the Elastic interface, purchasing option network, and metadata and user data, instance types. So many things here. We're gonna go and discuss about each and every of them and how they are going to be helped us out here. Okay. All right. So next step is to add storage. I'm gonna click add storage. I'm gonna just use a default storage. I am not adding any volumes here. Once we are going to discuss or cover our storage area, that's where we're gonna cover what are the different storage types here. What is general purpose SSD? What is the provision, magnetic, or S3 and whatever and whatnot? How do we get them access to here? Okay, so don't worry about all these jargons which I'm just using. We are at step number 4. We're gonna go next at tag. All right, so I'm gonna add a tag, just one tag for now. Okay, so tag, I'm gonna just name it, I'll give it a name. So tags are key value pairs. Okay, so name, I'm gonna just give it a name. What name I want to give? I want to give it a name, let's say first Linux. Okay, I'm sorry about the typo. First Linux. Okay, so this tag will be stamped on the instance as well as on the volumes attached to it. Okay, next is the configure security group. It is giving us 2 options, either create a new security group or select an existing one. Remember in one of our previous videos, we created one security group. We named it as my_SG or my security group that has poked holes for Linux, Windows, and web servers. So I'm going to just click on select existing ones, see that there's a default one. I'm not picking the default one. I'm going to pick this one, which we created MySG, that allows port access to SSH, RDP, and HTTP. Okay. If you don't remember how we created that, what is the premise behind, and all the there's a small tutorial about the port and a small tutorial about the inbound and outbound access. Go watch that video. It will help you out. Okay. All right. So I'm going to click here. That I am selecting it here. That has, you know, open ports for all these. I'm going to click next, which is review and launch. All right, so reviewing is fine. It's giving me a warning message that it is open. Your security group is open to the world. Yes, we are aware. We deliberately open it to the world, and we will see in our, you know, once we go play around with our security groups, we will, you know, try to narrow it down and expand the scope and see how it works. Okay. Next step is click launch. I'm going to click launch here. This is a critical piece. Remember, we created some Linux key pairs. Okay, so it gives us three options: choose existing, create new, or proceed without. So whatever the key pair you're going to pick, you have to remember that you have that in your machine, otherwise in your laptop or desktop. Otherwise you will not be able to access this Linux machine, because you cannot change once you select the key pair. So make sure once the key pair is selected that you have access to it. Okay. All right, so if I pick existing one, select the drop down here. Next drop down is select a key pair type. Remember, we created three. One was my Linux AMI instance, my locally generated, and the third one is my Windows AMI. So I'm going to just pick my Linux AMI instance. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to acknowledge that, yes, I have selected this and I have access to it. I'm going to click launch instance. Now the instance is launching. I'm going to go click here, view instances. This will take me to the EC2 dashboard. Don't worry about the terminated instance. This is the instance which we created for our Windows tutorial. So terminated instances, they stay here for a couple more minutes, and then, you know, they'll go away. Once the instance is terminated, you are good to go. Always make sure you terminate the instance before you log out of the console. This is for the free tier only, not in, you know, if you are working in a professional or the corporate environment, we don't normally turn off the instances. Okay, so for this one here, so that you do not incur any charges if you have left any running instance. Okay. All right, so I'm going to refresh it here. I already see that it is in the running state. Okay, I'm going to highlight here, select here, sorry. And I see that, you know, I have a description and check different status checks and everything. There are a couple of things that are of some importance for us. Okay. One is the public DNS. This is, I need to remember. Okay. This is through which I'm going to access my Linux machine. Okay. Second is, this is T2 micro that tells that this is a free tier. Good. Key pair name, I need to remember. My key pair name is my Linux AMI instance. If I do not have it in my machine, I will not be able to access it. Third one is AMI ID. What is the AMI ID? That this showing the Amazon AMI, whatever. This is my Linux AMI, and the platform is Linux Unix. Okay. How do we access Linux machines? Okay. For Windows guys, common method is through PuTTY. Okay. You have to have the PuTTY tool installed on it. So I'm gonna search for PuTTY, not PuTTY, PuTTY. Okay, I'm gonna launch PuTTY here. So PuTTY is launched here. What I'm gonna do is, in order for, you know, to make it visible for you guys, I'm gonna go into the appearance and change the font types. I'm gonna just change it to 16 to make it visible for pretty much every one of us. Okay. And I'm gonna go back into these sessions. Okay, before I start populating information here, I need to know a couple of things. One is, if you don't know how to access Linux machine, okay, so highlight that and then click on connect. It is going to tell you, okay, how are you going to connect to Linux? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hover my mouse over onto this public DNS IPv4. I'm going to go to the end of this, copy that. All right, so I'm going to go into my Linux, PuTTY. Okay, in the PuTTY, this is a critical one. Okay, I have to type in here so Windows, if you remember, they are accessed through admin or the administrator account. Okay, Linux is accessed through EC2-user account. Okay, so I have to type EC2-user. I am in its sessions, right? And here in the host name or IP address, I have just typed EC2-user @ Okay, this is gonna come default for all the Linux machines. This means that this is the user @ and this is the machine name, which I copied from here. This is the machine name. So what does it tell me? It tells me user on or user at this machine is going to access port 22. Okay. Now there's one more step. One more step is I have to expand on the SSH here and then click on auth. Under SSH, click on auth. Here you will see private key file for authentication. In the browse, I have to pick the private key. Okay. Remember here, key pair name was my Linux AMI through which I created this Linux machine. Okay. So here I have to pick this. So I'm going to click browse. Remember when we created those files, they were saved into my downloads folder. File name is my Linux AMI instance, my Linux AMI instance.pbk file. So I'm going to pick this file. Okay. Once I pick this file, I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to go to session again. And I see that, this information is populated here as well. I'm going to click open and I should be able to access my first Linux instance. I clicked on it. This is the first time warning message that the key signature is the first time you are using, whatever, whatnot. Click yes. Once I click yes, I am logged into my first Linux instance. Welcome to the Linux world. Congratulations, guys. All right, so there are different commands. I'll create another video that gives some basic commands like how to list the contents or how to check the disk space, okay, or which directory I am currently on, or how many users are logged in, what is the uptime of the machine, and all those details. Uptime is 5 minutes. So we'll talk about that, in our next video. So here, once I logged in, I am done with my work here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close this here, and I have to remember we have to terminate the instance. So highlight this, click action, instance state, go to terminate, not stop, not reboot, go to terminate state. So terminate is going to give you a warning, hey, there's EBS back instance. So yeah, I wanted to terminate that. I click on terminate, yes, give it some time, and it will, once it is in this red terminated state, that means that my instance is not in use. So I am not going to be they're not going to be incurred charges on my credit card if it left on online. Right now it's in the shutting down state, and then the next state will be terminate. Okay. All right, so I'm going to see, here it is, it's terminated now. All right, so I'm going to stop the video, and next video we're going to talk more about different items. Thank you much. See you in next video. Take care.